Time's up. Admiral.
Here it comes.
Fade in.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f yourself. But go f yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
What's the matter? Take yourself a great big bite of meat. Taste the pleasure of the highest quality pork around.
Give me the meat and give it to me raw.
There is nobody of merit there. It's for their new fan base. That's who D23 is for. Everybody who went there knowing they sniff crotch and suck shit.
You know how much I love Snorlax? I'm gonna prove it to you. These are my slippers. All right, Snorlax slippers. I don't give a crap who knows. I'm a grown man and I'm rocking Snorlax slippers. I don't give a crap. This girl sounds like a freaking duck being beat to death by a goose.
You got to watch it. You got to hit the like button.
We've got to get it up for him, guys. Come on. Everyone who's watching this
Don't say
video
it like
to
that.
go over
Don't
there,
say it like that.
And share the video. We got to keep going.
Don't they have to get it up for me? Don't say it like that. God damn it.
I'm colored. Shut up.
Well, we're talking about people who have serious sexual orientation and gender identity problems. And I'm not talking, when I say sexual orientation, I don't mean, a dude who likes a dude and a chick who likes a chick. We're talking about people who think that they're non-binary and they don't know how to play with their holes and shit like that.
Oh,
Jesus Christ. Like, I want to dive into her deep pool and swim around in her labia.
Who writes someone that's a genius and that everybody is over there sucking her toes, and then you got to come over here and then say something ridiculous like, hey, victimize me, daddy.
I'm still jerking off in front of my console.
Hey, my name is a pimp named Dries, and I believe I've misplaced some merchandise at this residence. Lord Jesus and the shepherds, where is daddy's money? I will not hesitate for one solitary second to put hands on somebody if I don't have my monies.
We want to enjoy what we're looking at. We don't want sores and fat whores.
Ooh, so exciting.
No.
Let me be as clear as I can. Ain't no colors in Scandinavia.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
There was high top fade, Dre. There's been so many over the years. Cornrows, all of them.
Just let your soul go. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul, baby, feeling oh so silky smooth.
Please, sir, can I have some darkies? And I gotta say, any person who uses a Funko Pop or gets a Funko Pop immediately disqualifies themselves from any fan discussion.
Unless you're getting it for a mocking reason to make fun of something.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Or if it's a gift from someone.
Both of y'all suck. I hate you both.
If it's a gift from someone who doesn't know better, that's fine. I have a couple of those. But if you're going out collecting Funko Pops,
no, you're retarded. Funko Pops are awesome. I hate myself. I have a problem.
I've got loads of them.
You're a girl. You're allowed to do it. You're a girl.
It's okay for girls. They're exempt. Dre, this is not okay. We need to have an intervention.
I have a problem. I've got no shame.
But we don't want Revan touched. No.
Agreed.
You don't want anything good touched.
No.
Agreed.
Yeah. Because Disney Star Wars is a bad touch.
It is a bad touch.
Touches you in the bad place.
It's a bad touch.
Show me on the doll where Disney Star Wars touched you.
I need a bigger doll.
Oh, God.
There's no doll left.
Who is that? I don't know that person anymore. I don't have to deal with them at all anymore. They're I don't even think about
That's your best friend, your future boyfriend.
Oh, God. Why would you do that to me?
Ah.
God, I'd rather have Dermy as my boyfriend than that.
Oh, God.
Liar!
This is why I do crystal meth.
I dangled for too long there. That wasn't fun.
I'm gonna tell you, if I'm gonna tell you a story and the end result is gonna be me taking a dump on somebody's forehead, do you care about how we got there?
Let me do it myself here. Let me get it up real quick. Hey, shut up. Shut up. I didn't mean it like that, you perverts.
Oh, these two girls when you kiss, they're gonna be hot. Oh, yo, you know, Elizabeth Hurley's gonna get butt naked in this.
Well, no, see what they do is they turn the villains into the good guys through some BS, and then they make a new villain that they then turn into the good guy because there are no villains. Everybody's just misunderstood.
Oh, yeah. You know what else is misunderstood? Diarrhea. That's what's misunderstood. Because even though
I think everybody understands that one pretty well.
Because no matter what I eat, no matter how well I eat, diarrhea still comes somehow. And that's exactly what this is. It's diarrhea. And I won't have no part of this. I had a couple people ask me, like, oh, did you go see Craven? Under no circumstance. I'd rather sacrifice a small goat on top of an Empire State Building and bathe in its blood before I go and see this film. I will have no part of it. I won't have any part of it. It sickens me. Sickens me from my head to my penis. I'm done with all of this garbage. I'm so done. I can't with this. So I'm glad Sony has canceled this. I mean, will cancel their universe. I don't want to see anymore. I'm honestly up to my black eyeballs of seeing any of this garbage. I don't want to see any more superhero anything anymore.
No! She's not supposed to be talking about.
I have no idea what's going on, Dre, but it's fun.
Talk about that.
He's having a breakdown. Somebody call Johnny Cochran.
And these tool bags wouldn't know quality if it walked up and motorboated them. Because, you know, you're going to motorboat quality.
Wait, what?
Quality boobs. You want to motorboat quality boobs. You know?
There we go. All better now. Man, titties are the greatest things on earth.
Yep, they are. I promise I'll update it next week. I forgot again. Anyway, hi everybody. Hail and howdy. Welcome to the round table where we do our best to be not weird, which we fail at every time. But we have an interesting show for you guys today. Jed, how you doing? I got nothing. How you doing?
You got
I got nothing.
You seem tired, man. You doing all right?
5 hours sleep.
5 hours. That's plenty.
I'm terrible. No, listen, I'm what we call in my family a dirty little stay up. A dirty little stay up where I just kind of keep doing things when I should go to bed. And in this case, it's play video games with the boys. And it was I mean, it's not like I was just by myself going play games. No. I was enabled by Kratos and Kel and Weasel and Sleazy. I was enabled.
It's funny that Dermy had more sense than you.
Well,
he went to sleep.
A little embarrassing, bro.
Fuck you. Anyway, all right, Jed, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about what we've got coming today, especially the Assassin's Creed stuff. Disappointing that it's delayed because I was looking forward to streaming that, but my sanity is also glad that it got delayed, so it's kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that.
March, you'll get it in March. Anyway, yes, we will
Hopefully.
talk about that. Good evening, Dragon Lady. How are you? Okay, she's fine.
Sorry, I'm here. I hadn't realized it was on mute. Sorry about that. Yes, I'm a lot better than I was this time last week. I got sick again, so I'm a lot better than I was.
That's good. That's good. And Dre's got better things to do today. So we got Alf. We got instead of black representation, we have furry representation. So how you doing, Alf? How you doing after last night? You know?
Yeah, I'm still recovering from last night in Among Us after Dermy threw me under the bus multiple times and accused everyone. He accused everyone who wasn't the imposter.
Okay. Here's what set him off. All right. So at one point we had 14 out of 15 people. So we thought, hey, let's put in 3 imposters. And on that first round, it was me, Dermy, and Vagabundo. And Vagabundo, unbeknownst to us, decided to do what is called a stack kill, where everybody's on top of each other doing the same job, and you can't see what anybody does. And when that happens, see, I had already left the room because my penchant is to wander off by myself, whether I'm in or not, and start doing stuff or pretending to do stuff. And immediately somebody called it because there was a dead body, and somebody started to blame Dermy. And even though we were on the same team, Dermy and I have been, of course, fighting for already like an hour. And I thought, all right, I'm going to throw some false, I'm going to throw false leads out there, and I'm going to attack Derby, and I'm going to go nuts on him. Problem is, everybody jumped on that, and he got booted right away. So I had a gamble. It was either gonna make me and Dermy start to fight each other when we're really working together, or he was gonna get booted. And unfortunately, he got booted, and he threw a tantrum. He sent me a very, very horrible DM. very, 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 very mean DM. He was angry. And then when it was over for the next 4 sessions, he just kept voting against me, even when I was it. When I wasn't it, or wasn't just going against me. But then he started to throw Alf under a bus because Alf tried to defend me at one point, even though I was it, and I killed like Alf 2 seconds later. But
yeah, it was funny because he accused me, and then got me thrown out of the game, and then the very next round he was the imposter and he killed me. The first time, like first person he killed.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a glorious mess, and I love it, but we're suffering a problem now from it. At this point, we've had relatively the same group. We know each other's tells at this point.
Oh yeah, I was about to say that. Dermy, he's definitely got a tell. When he is the imposter, he's a lot calmer.
His
when he's
octave,
not
the octave doesn't go up.
When he's not the imposter and he starts getting accusations, he spurgs.
He melts down. He melts down. So Dermy's tell is very big. My tell, I'm pretty sure my tell is my aggressiveness. That's how you know it might be me if suddenly there are bodies everywhere. Also, I will get very salty very quickly because I try to throw the blame around. So I think I know what my tells are. I need to work on it a bit. Problem is also Sneezy sifts me out real quick every time. That's the problem. He sifts me out fast. But it is a great time. Of course, we'll be back next month because we only do it once a month. Do it too many times a month and it'll get stale. So we'll be back next month with another one. Hopefully it will be as entertaining. Hopefully I wasn't that great last night. I performed poorly. I've done better as imposter.
It's funny is I complain about Dermy, but me and Dermy had a round where we were both imposters and we cleaned house.
Yeah, I was not on. I mean, I won a couple rounds as imposter. Like there was one round for 3 where it was me, Sleazy, and Kratos, and that was just it was efficiently evil. It was done in seconds. But yeah, I feel like I gave a good performance last night. I could have been better. Maybe because my head was in Stellaris. I don't know. It really is in there. It really is in Stellaris. I'm thinking about it.
He's playing Among Us, but his mind is in Stellaris.
Yeah, that's a problem. Anyway, but all right, so Alf, we're happy to have you here today to hang on with us. We got a good show. Before we get into that, hail and howdy to the chat. We are happy to have all of you with us here on the Sunday afternoon, where I'm sure you have better things to do, but you love us, and we're thankful for that. So hail the goddess and Algrim the strong, my mods. One loves me, one hates me. And that's all I got for that. I'm not sharp today. Hail Ruben X, how are you, my friend? Going on the list. Hail Dom H, who just gifted 5 memberships. Hail Dom H, who was with us last night. Who at one point Dom ran a really great murder spree. I walk down in a corner. I'm oblivious to everything. I'm doing my little business on a navigation. I turn around, I see a dead body, and I'm about to report it. And then here, Dom just swoops in and kills me too before I could report it.
That may have been that round where within less than a minute there was 4 dead bodies.
He just, yeah. There were some of the combinations were great. Hey, I got to give Silver some credit. Jeremy's friend Silver. It was his first time last night, and when he and I got together on ours, we almost pulled it off. And he did a really good job for like his first time imposter. Now I screwed it up. I got too aggressive. Well, also what happened was I didn't know Dermy saw me at an event. He saw me vent around, and that's what I got away with it for like a turn or two. But then Dermy managed to retard paranoia everybody onto me, and it did, and I got nailed. And then I did my best to kind of support Silver, who managed to stay under the radar. We almost won that one, but like good job, Silver, for a first time out. Really good there.
Dude, Dermy was not very. His intuitions were not very good last night. He got multiple non-imposters kicked out.
He was channeling shock. Shock. Shock wasn't there, so someone had to basically throw a monkey wrench in all suspicions every time. Listen, we were all retarded last night. It was not. None of us were in top form last night at all. None at all.
Well, it's the Ballbusters crew.
Yeah,
it's always retarded.
Yeah. Anyway, so thank you, Dom Mace, for those 5 gifted memberships. You can catch Dom hanging out with us playing games all throughout the week. Hold on. Hail, Jay Frazier. Happy New Year to you too. Hail, what? Hail, Frank. What responsibilities? I'm older than him. I'm the old man here. Next Nerdgasm. I can answer that right now. I would have answered it at the end of the show, but I'll answer it right now. Next Nerdgasm is on the 23rd, a week from next Thursday, and we are doing Doctor Who. We're gonna do it. Our first foray into Who-niverse. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Reminisce about good shit. We're gonna do. And hail howdy, anybody else who is not chatting, simply hanging out. We appreciate you. Hit those like buttons. Subscribe to the channel. Links in the description below. Let's get started. Enough messing around. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do today. Quick little box office roundup, because as I said, we're going to remain vigilant with the box office because I made a bunch of predictions, and starting next week with Wolfman, we're going to see how my predictions start to pan out, and by the end of the year, we're going to see if I'm a super retard, well, more so than normal. So we're going to do that. We got a little warm-up story that Jed just found out about. It's just for shits and giggles. It's going to make us all laugh. Then, though, we got our 2 main topics, possibly more things out of that. The disaster, we mentioned it, that is Assassin's Creed Shadows and Ubisoft. I put a timeline video out of why it went so wrong and how we got here. And it really is, it's a masterclass of not reading the room, not getting it, and just being bad at your job.
And you know that's the downside with these AAA studios. They're behemoths. Well, they can't turn on a dime like a smaller studio can.
We'll get to that because it centers with the leadership of Ubisoft, and we'll get to that. And then what it wouldn't be a week if I didn't shit all over Disney Star Wars, and I have good reason to shit on it this week because we have beautiful receipts, beautiful, glorious receipts, and guess what? Skeleton Crew. It's terrible and nobody's watching, but the stands are still angry at me for reporting on how bad it is and reviewing it for the piece of shit that it is. They're still angry at me. And I don't even bother with their comments because I know what it is. It's a children's show. No, it's not. It's a show.
I despise that excuse for anything.
It's stupid because wasn't Star Wars meant for children to begin with?
Well, George says it's for families.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, kids deserve good quality entertainment as well. I'm sick of this mentality that kids deserve crap.
Yeah,
they deserve good content.
We talked about that a little bit on Mellow Mondays. It was either last week or the week before, where you look at the 80s and the 90s, and kids programming, they treated the kids with respect.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. They told them solid stories with morals and lessons, not pandering bullshit. So we're going to talk the failure of Skeleton Crew, and then I'm going to ask a question. Can Disney Star Wars be saved? Is there anything? I mean, we all know the answer, but we're gonna talk it out anyway. Is there anything that Disney could possibly do? And I'm just saying Disney. I'm not saying outside of Disney. Disney. Is there anything they can do? And we'll talk about that. And that's what we'll have, and we'll see where we are when we get to the end of that. All right. So first off, let's bring up a little box office just to touch on last week's movies. Here we are. It is Sunday, the 12th, 2025. Ignore me. Sonic 3. Sonic 3 still doing banger in domestic and kind of meh in the international box office.
Yeah, that hasn't increased a whole lot since last week. I think it's kind of plateaued out.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Everybody's been being so excited and how great Sonic is doing. This is a pretty average performance. I mean, yes, it's made money. With its $122 million budget, it's in profit mode now. Not a lot, but it's in profit mode.
Don't they already have like 2 more movies planned?
4. No, they've only got the 4th one ready to go. They've greenlit the 4th one.
Okay.
They talked about plans for going further beyond that, but there's only the one that's been officially greenlit.
Okay.
Yeah. So, listen. I've heard nothing but positivity about it, but I think everybody's gotten a little hyperbolic about how great it's doing because they wanted to do better than Mufasa, which is the reverse. It's got a pretty domestic, but a larger international. Of course, it is.
That international is insane.
Yeah,
it's bonkers.
It's far short from what the previous one did, the previous live action one did, but and it hasn't made money with its $200 million budget. It's maybe in profit. Of course, we all know the budget's usually higher, so maybe it's broken even right now.
But yeah, if that budget is accurately reported, 500 would be about the break-even point, but we all expect it to be higher. I'd say to be safe, 600, but it's in that kind of gray area where it's like, probably starting to make some pocket change for people.
Yeah, so I think, and the reason I'm just talking about this is that, and which is why I tried to be objective as possible when I made my predictions. I don't want to let, and Jed, you'll love me when I say this, I don't want to let my subjectivity rule my thought process here. I want Sonic 3 to do better than Mufasa, but it's not. Overall, it's not by gross numbers. Now, it's going to make more profit probably, which is why it's got the 4th movie. But total numbers in gross, it looks like it's doing worse, but people are pretending it's doing better. Does that sound right, what I'm saying?
Well, I would love for the Mufasa one. I'd love to see a breakdown of the international box office, where it's coming from, because if it's majority coming from China, they're not actually making that money.
Oh no, barely anything out of China. Just 13 million as of last week.
Mexico's doing better than China. France is doing great.
The Euros love it for some reason. Dragon Lady, explain yourself.
I've not seen it.
Yeah, look at the UK.
I have no interest in it.
Explain your country for watching this movie.
You must answer for the entire EU.
I mean, I can answer for America.
I'm from the UK, not EU. I have no idea. The only explanation I can think of is that it's probably being shown in the Disney park in France. And that might be one of the reasons, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, well, either way, the foreign has carried Mufasa the Lion King. Let me go back here, because the domestic has been abysmal. That's not good.
Look at that drop for theater.
Yeah.
And they've been losing theaters too, yeah.
I mean, on my birthday, they only made nobody. See, I didn't go see it for my birthday. On my birthday, only 1.3 million. Nobody's going to see this, and it's barely anything like this. As opposed to now, we'll go back to Sonic, and they're about equal now, but Sonic's in less theaters, or
in a lot less theaters.
Now Sonic's now in
It's
more
evening
theaters. Now, well, actually, no. Now it has dropped today or the other day. Wait a minute, this hasn't been updated yet for Sunday
or Saturday.
Hold on, or Saturday. Hang on, let me refresh this. I just put it up a minute ago. Okay, these are not these. We don't have Saturday, Sunday numbers yet. Hold on a second.
We do for Mufasa, but not for Sonic.
Did we have it for Mufasa? Hold on, let me go back down.
When we went to see Sonic 3 a couple of weeks ago, the cinema was packed. There was, what I can remember, a lot of seats being booked. There was a lot of seats booked. But from what I've heard, there was absolutely no one seeing Mufasa.
Yeah, that's the thing. So my guess,
unless Disney's doing what they did with Captain Marvel and buying all the tickets to make it look like
no, they can't afford to do that anymore.
All right,
they can't afford that. All right, I would say there's at least probably another based on last weekend. What was last weekend? 685.
Did these two movies debut on the same week?
No, Mufasa debuted a week before. And
Domestically, they released at the same time, I thought, and then Sonic's International was delayed 1 week.
They delayed it a week. Now, my guess is if we base upon last weekend's numbers, there's probably another 20 million domestic, between 15 and 20 million domestic coming to Sonic this weekend, maybe. So
I think that might be a little high, but yeah, somewhere around 400. It's close to 400.
When you bring in, I was going to say, if you adjust up, plus or minus 5 million, same with international, Sonic will cross 400 million. So let me retract some of what I said, because I didn't see until we scrolled down there. We didn't have the weekend numbers in yet. So, because it's doing fine. When you look at all the numbers, then it's doing fine. So I apologize. I take back everything I just said, because without the weekend numbers, I can only work with what I see, and I hadn't scrolled down to the box office yet. So by its own metrics, Sonic is making profit right now, more profit than Mufasa is, which has its weekend numbers, its pathetic weekend numbers for a movie that is supposed to be a big budget Disney movie.
With their budget, Mufasa, if it's making profit, is making pocket change, whereas Sonic is most likely in the $50 to $80 million of profit range,
which is going to go right into the next one.
100%.
Does it show how much both these movies were spent for advertising?
No, we never get marketing. We have to fish around for that, and you never get an exact thing. It's always best to estimate at least $100 million in marketing for anything
these days.
Yeah. So Sonic and with Sonic, there were probably a lot of cross deals where the money was kind of a bartering type thing situation where
exchange of services. Yeah.
Thank you. That's the right term. Thank you. Exchange of services where it's not exactly money, but it's promotion and merch gets sold and placed and this and that, or specials in restaurants and stores and stuff like that, and for their shit they're going to tag on. Mufasa probably didn't have that. This is just, we're going to push on social media and television. So it's 100 million. And we know Disney always overpays for this shit. They always overpay. They always put too much money into it. So Mufasa literally, I'm going to say Mufasa hasn't made a dime yet. I'm going to say that.
I think it's fair. It might have, but using Disney's track record, if this were any other company, I'd be a lot more iffy about it. But with Disney, I think it's entirely fair to say that they haven't made any profit, because they're known for lying about their budgets. They're known for not including their reshoots. And I can't imagine a film that has this much CGI in the current CGI landscape has a budget that small. It's got to be higher. If Captain America, what is the new one called? Brave New World? Is it still Brave New World?
Yeah,
has a budget greater than that, and it's actual live action, and not 100% CGI, then I don't believe this one was able to scrape by with the smaller budget.
Yeah, and you bring a good point, and we could start comparing now. So let's launch this into discussion looking forward. We are now entering the beginning. No movies have released yet this year. No real new movies. None of the stuff that we've predicted on. And even though Wolfman is the first one I prediction, it was just the first one because it was on the list. But the real thing now is Black Falcon Captain America with its $400 million budget. And you bring up a good point, Jed. That one ballooned because of the reshoots. They don't actually have to tell us if they reshot or re-recorded anything with Mufasa. That's kind of thing they can do subtly and under the rug. You just bring somebody in, do a little more voice work.
There's actually a way that they justify it. So they say it's the production budget. That's what they give out to people, is the production budget. But there are actually, as most people know, there are 3 stages of making a film. There's pre-production, production, and post-production. Reshoots have been classified as post-production to facilitate that accurate number for production budget. The actual production phase did cost probably $200 million, but that way they can kind of be like, hey, that was our post-production budget was really high. We don't have to tell you about that. So it is a form of manipulation, honestly.
Yeah.
We don't know how much pre-production costs. Usually that's very cheap though.
So if whatever they redid on Mufasa, they can hide very easy, as opposed to Black Falcon, Captain America, Not So Brave New World. It's a all out the open. They can't hide reshoots.
Yeah, it's not like it's all in studio. You can just sneak some voice actors into a sound
we
booth.
know when they brought Harrison Ford back on set. We know when they had to redo the story 4 times. We know now. They announced that WWE superstar Seth Rollins, he was all big about, oh, I'm going to be in this. His shit's been cut. He's not in the movie anymore. So that when we get to starting in now, let's see, pretty much 32 days from now, roughly 32 days from now, when we get this first bomb of the season for Disney, we're going to see we're going to see the failure right up close personal, and we're going to watch as Disney can now not even claim anything, because we've been over it. There's nothing they can claim, and Sonic 3 can at least claim success based on its budget and its reception, and the fact that the merch is flying off the shelves as well. There a lot of merch has been.
Oh, Mufasa will not sell any merch worth talking about.
Well, that's the other thing is I feel like because I'm around kids, I have my own kids. They seem, and everyone who talks about their kids going to see Sonic, the kids are genuinely excited for Sonic. Who is going to see Mufasa? No kids are talking about it. Is it just Disney adults? I don't know.
Probably.
It doesn't make sense.
Bored people.
Mufasa's success doesn't make any sense. Even internationally, where they seem to more prefer the pretty images so they don't have to worry about translations, which I get to a certain extent, but it's still, nobody talks about it. It doesn't trend really. No one talks about the quality of the story, remembering it, or singing the songs. Even Wicked, which I have a problem with, it doesn't interest me is what I mean. I could still hear everyone who went to see it talking about it, how much they loved it, singing the songs. You could feel that it was successful. Yeah. The zeitgeist responded to it, and Sonic did that as well. You can absolutely feel that people loved Sonic and went back to watch it. But Mufasa, who talks about it? And what sense of success do you get just from being out in the world? Even marketing, even advertising that's still out there. I still see advertisements for Sonic. Don't see any for Mufasa. There are plenty of toys for Sonic that are selling very well. Like the Lego sculpture of Shadow's head is like $200, and that is selling extraordinarily well. Things big.
Even Build-A-Bear, the Build-A-Bear plushies for Sonic are flying off the shelves. I'm not seeing anything for Mufasa from Build-A-Bear, and yet they had stuff for the other Lion King live-action remake, but they've not got anything for this one as far as I'm aware of.
I think
So
that's
they're basically got.
Oh, go ahead.
Basically, they're more interested in Sonic than Lion King.
Yeah, I think that's the basic difference between these two movies. Is I think Sonic is in the zeitgeist. Disney isn't, and Disney hasn't been able to capture that zeitgeist for a long time now.
And that's the thing, though. And that relates to what we were talking about last week. You have a dichotomy of organic enjoyment for stuff like Sonic, where people are naturally excited, they want it, they're thrilled by it, and they get satisfied, and they spread good word of mouth. And then you have Disney. Oh, I'm going to finish that statement. And with Sonic, then you are passing it on, because Alf just said, he has example, the kids love it, the kids are enjoying it. You have now, as a gamer, passed on a gaming franchise and an IP to your kids. Is that a safe thing to say, Alf? You've passed on.
Well, yeah, kind of and Star Wars used to be that way. I know we haven't gotten to that topic yet, but stuff that like Star Wars and whatnot, that used to be one of those franchises you would pass down generation to generation. Well, that has stopped with the current Disney run,
and that's the point. No generational handoff. Sonic has succeeded in getting a generational handoff. Even though it hasn't had a strong video game presence lately, the IP has had a strong generational handoff now. The Lion King, Disney in general, these things, there's no generational handoff because, as you just said, it's not in the zeitgeist anymore. It's not it's in the zeitgeist, but it's in a negative way. Nobody is talking to their kids saying, hey, look, I used to watch this when I was a kid on Disney, and now I'm going to share with you. No, they're not. And that is why Disney keeps losing a step. And that is why, starting with Black Falcon Captain America, then with Snow White, then with Thunderbolts. I'm gonna say Thunderbirds, Thunderbolts, and all kinds of other things.
Thundercat.
and we'll get to it because Alf mentioned we'll get to it with Disney Star Wars later today. There is no interest from the younger generation. 20 and under, don't care. 20 and over, if you are a window licking retard and a clapping seal, yeah, I love Disney Star Wars, yeah. You're not into it unless you're that. I mean, I saw, and we'll talk about it when we get there. I mentioned it last week that there's rumors that Dave Filoni's going to bring Skeleton Crew people into his next movie. Not Mando Grogu, but his fake Heir to the Empire movie. That was what we've all self-titled it. And other things like that. I mean, actually, let me bring it up. I got it right here. The dude I want to point to about it. Freaking retard. Oh, yeah. Or with Ahsoka. Here it is, right here. This genius who, we know how I play, and I will say this as far as spreading positivity on X Twitter. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Not going to do it. He's like, after all three of them rumored to be in Ahsoka season 2. Oh, Dave, you're having too much fun. I mean, that's the clapping seal retards. Whether they're the Disney adult, the childish adult, the Disney Star Wars stan, that's who's in this. And guess what? We know for a fact they don't have the presence to move the needle. And we'll come back to that one later. I don't want to detract from where we're going because that's the second half of the stream. But this is the lack of interest that real fans show. And it's hurting. And Mufasa looks like it has bigger numbers, which the disingenuous media, like we covered last week, are trying to push the narrative. Mufasa's doing better than Sonic, but on the metrics, Sonic is doing better than Mufasa. It is making profit. Mufasa is not. And Disney knows it. The shills know it, but they're going to pretend otherwise because they think we're stupid, but we're not. We see the game and we talk about it, and that's what we're supposed to do. Talk about it so everybody hears it and knows it. But you know what else everybody also knows? Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to suck. It's going to suck. It's going to be bad. And listen, we knew it was going to be bad from moment one last May when they announced Yasuke and Naue.
Oh, that's when most people found out. I knew it would be bad for a while.
Well, that was like the officials, like, oh,
that
wow.
was the official. That's when like everyone realized what it was going to be. But after Mirage, after Valhalla, I had no faith in Ubisoft.
I was about to say that hasn't the Assassin's Creed games been on the decline for the last several games?
So quality-wise, I would say yes. Valhalla was the highest-selling Assassin's Creed game of all time, so it was financially successful. But not as remembered. Like, it doesn't have the replayability for most people, but Mirage was a disaster for them. It should have been a DLC. Its budget was way too high, and the content was just boring, so no one played it. It didn't even show up on a lot of the charts. It was a disaster.
That was technically the first chink in the armor. Mirage.
That was the end of Ubisoft's, the beginning of the end.
Yeah. I mean, we don't talk about it because it was so underreported. You're the only one that talked to me about it because you played it, and then I asked you about it. And so that was actually the beginning. But there was so much leading up when you look at the whole. You have to look at the whole picture. It was not just Assassin's Creed. It's X-Defiant. It's Outlaws. It's other things they've dumped money into and don't really get anything out of it.
Skull and Bones was a big one for them.
Skull and Bones, thank you. I knew there was one more. I was jumping. My 5 hours of sleep brain was jumping around trying to find the one more. I knew there was one more. Thank you.
How relevant is Far Cry anymore?
Not.
No.
I mean, we've done this story. We have listed the Ubisoft franchise titles and said what is relevant. None of them are relevant. They had 2 left that were relevant. Assassin's Creed, and they had a shot with making a Star Wars game, which they fumble-rooskied all over the place and rolled around in it and said, oh, look at me, I'm pretty. But no, you're not. You're covered in shit.
Well, they also had the gay Prince of Persia game that came out.
I forgot about that one.
That didn't
no one played that.
That didn't chart at all.
Yeah. So it's a grand picture to the collapse of Ubisoft, but when the day comes and they fold, we'll have that complete discussion. But for today, we're focusing on the final nail in the coffin, which is Assassin's Creed Shadows. And Assassin's Creed Shadows, from the moment it made, Jed was onto it because he was playing and he knew it was going to be bad. But when we got the announcement that it was Yasuke and Naue, and the push to have Yasuke be this protagonist, this black samurai, and how they tried to gaslight us all and tell us that we're racist because we don't accept a black samurai in feudal Japan, but the real history tells us otherwise, and then try to flip it. Oh, we don't actually tell historical accuracy, but you just told us it was historically accurate and try to defend it. You can't have it both ways. So they tried all that. It fell apart right away. We learned that the actual original was protagonist supposed to be a Japanese monk, which would have been cool.
Yeah,
would have been fine. Even if it had just been Jet, even if it had just been Naue, while it would have continued with their trend of women's, it would not have blown up like this. A female ninja in Japan would not have blown up like this the way it had.
No, absolutely not. And I just want to quickly counter that point. Like, we've never been historically accurate. I have two main references to counter them on. In one of the early Assassin's Creed games, they were going to include a crossbow in it, and then they realized the crossbow wasn't invented till 2 years after the events of the game, and they took it out. That is historical accuracy. That is historical integrity. And then the other fantastic example that no one talks about anymore is, if people remember a few years ago, unfortunately, the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris burnt down. I don't know if people know this, but they used the accurate plans used to construct the Notre Dame in Assassin's Creed Unity to help reconstruct Notre Dame.
Yeah, I read
a
about that.
accurate Notre Dame reconstruction because of Assassin's Creed being as accurate as possible. That's a real world impact for how much they cared about historical accuracy.
I climbed up.
They used Unity to help them recreate Notre Dame. That's how Notre Dame's pronounced. I think I could be wrong.
Oh, we have a football team here that's called Notre Dame. That's why I keep saying it like that. You're correct.
I'll say Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame.
But I'm American it up right now, so I'm gonna say Notre Dame. So whatever.
Notre Dame.
Anyway, but they wanted you to think that it was gonna be all this stuff, and they reversed it. We caught them on it, and then from that moment on, there was no saving Shadows. There was no saving Shadows. It was one bad decision after another, from claiming fake banners from fan groups and then saying we made it up, from grabbing anime swords using Zoro's katanas from One Piece and saying it's our original artwork as we're using this, from being so stupid and trying to tell us that it's okay if both Yasuke and Naue have same-sex partners in feudal Japan. I mean, I present to you this picture. You're Yasuke, and then we've seen him. We know what he looks like. Gigantic black man going to have his way with a much smaller Japanese male.
Oh, God.
Does he start the game in prison?
Oh. It's also not a good look for a black man to be roaming around Japan beating up Asian people.
Yeah.
And it fundamentally goes against the creed of the samurai. They call him a samurai, but at least with Ghost of Tsushima, that was part of the story, is him going away from the samurai code. But this one, he's like, I'm just going to... Yeah, it was beautifully done, him struggling with the code of the samurai. This one's like, what code? I kill people, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, right here, I'll bring this up, and it's a CGI screen cap, him swinging the giant ass mallet, just to beat people. And this whole thing is disaster, and it got so bad, as we all commented, that it had that delay to February. And we thought, hey, that's great. And Dre gave us all the news. If Dre was here, he'd reiterate it, just like he did on Ballbusters overnight. This thing needs well over $1 billion to break even. Well over $1 billion. And they've delayed it again, just this week out of nowhere to March. And you add in the insult from the Torygate incident with the toy, and now I'm going to say, some will say that, oh, how can they know? It's not hard. Just do a little research and learn. Why don't release a game where you've got foreigners or civil unrest, where technically, the assassins are doing, terrorist things to the sitting government at the time, because that's what the Templars are. Templars are usually sitting government. Yeah, don't release a game on the worst domestic terrorist attack in Japan's history.
Yeah, that just seems like a bad decision. And it, like you said, it takes no effort whatsoever. If we were making a game for, I don't know, Slovenia, that's just, I don't know why that's the first thing I thought of. We're going to Google that release date. It doesn't take a whole lot.
Yeah.
And because of how prominent that Japanese terrorist attack is, it reasonably makes the Japanese people, combined with everything else this game did, like with Yasuke, to make it seem like Ubisoft doesn't like Japanese people and their culture. Like, they have an argument to think, oh, wow, they're insulting our culture. This is malicious. It's probably not true, but there's enough evidence to suggest it.
Yeah.
And if anyone knows Japanese culture, they're very steeped in symbolism, so they will see it as an insult.
Yeah, you're basically dishonoring them. You're dishonoring the memory of those who were lost. You're dishonoring of the moment it means. And like Jed said, in any team, there's going to be somebody in charge of cross-checking important days, holidays, this and that. When's a good time to release something, when isn't. There's somebody going to be in charge of that shit, because I got to be honest, it's not something that goes through my head, because that's not the type of thinking that I do. But somebody on a team is going to be put in charge of that. So it's not hard to find out, hey, did anything happen in Japan on March 20th in their history? It's like saying, hey, in America, why don't we do something on Pearl Harbor Day? Let's release something on Pearl Harbor Day. Yeah, it's like if the Japanese decided to release a game on Pearl Harbor Day where there's a battle in it. Yeah, it wouldn't be a good look in America. Wouldn't be a good look.
If they had like some Japanese guy coming to America and murdering a bunch of people and then released it on Pearl Harbor Day, we have a right to question that and say, what are your motives for this?
Why are you doing this? You've just stirred up a hornet's nest of what the hell. And the overall thing, and to bring back what something Alf said earlier, it's just bad management. And you know why it's bad management? The Guillaume family have been in charge since 1988. That's how long they've been in charge. They're disconnected from reality. So much so, when Tencent was trying to get more of a share so they could take over, the Guillaume family were basically arguing, yes, give us your money, you can own us, but leave us in charge so you don't say anything. So much so that a lot of people didn't report last week, Tencent is pulled out of the deal. I saw it last week. They pulled out.
It's a poisonous fruit. There's no benefit to purchase Ubisoft at this point. Their franchises are worthless.
Yeah,
this isn't a Star Wars situation where there's a lot of excitement for more Assassin's Creed games. There's no one who wants to see any more right now.
I with some of their franchises, I could see, if this company goes under, I could see companies like picking franchises they want to purchase.
Individual franchises.
With the idea of turning them around, but yeah, I could see them picking just individual franchises. They're not going to buy the whole company.
All right. So Alf brings up a good point. So let's look at it from this angle. A couple months ago, Dre, Jed, and I basically agreed that Ubisoft will no longer be an independent company before this year is out. They will not survive the year. My original take was they would go belly up, but then Jed and Dre convinced me they'll just get swallowed up. But now with how bad this gets, with you guys just bringing up these points, will anybody, if Tencent, the center of all evil in Asian gaming, soulless, not just soulless and greedy, but evil. Tencent is evil. I don't care if they gave you Marvel Rivals and monkey beating things with a stick. All right? I don't care. They are evil. If they don't want anything to do with more than the shares they have in it, because they own like, I think 20% or something like that of Ubisoft, and they were going for a full takeover. If they don't want anything to do with it, and with you guys just bringing this up, will anybody risk taking on the radioactive Ubisoft at this point?
I don't think the entire company will be bought.
No.
That's why I keep saying from the beginning I've used the term liquidation. I think they're going to spread their resources out to the 5 winds, have different franchises to be bought by different companies, and just cease to exist in that sense. Rather than, I don't think it's going to be an Activision Blizzard situation or anything like that. A while ago, it could have been
again either. Nobody wants to see a merger like that again because that was horrible.
A few years ago, I could have seen it, but now I think their only choice is to sell off everything individually, yard sale style.
All right, go ahead, off.
Yeah, it's going to almost be like a bankruptcy court. They're going to sell off their individual IPs.
Well,
Other companies are going to come in like vultures and pick what they want.
There's another article here on Park Place that says they are now exploring the bankruptcy. That they are starting that. So that may be it. Liquidation, breaking apart. But here's the thing, to the point, Alf brought it up. These different IPs are rotten fruit falling off the tree on the ground. Who's going to pick these up? I mean,
there are people who will buy the franchises for cheap because in a liquidation, they're going to be very, very underpriced.
And I think what they need to do is if they buy, because when it goes through bankruptcy, you're not going to get what you want for, when you sell it off. It's going to be at a cheaper discount because the bankruptcy court is just wanting to purge assets. So, I could see people coming in, but I think the smart thing to do is any company that comes in and buys any of these franchises that have been corrupted is to sit on them for a few years and then come up with a plan to fix it.
Yep, that's their best way to go, and I think that might be Tencent's strategy here. Is they were trying to buy it right at its actual value or similar to it, but if they wait till Assassin's Creed comes out and fails, and they're put up for bankruptcy, Ubisoft's put up for bankruptcy, they could buy it for half the price.
And all they want is Assassin's Creed. That's all they want.
Really? So
they don't want anything else.
They could just purchase Assassin's Creed after bankruptcy, or they could get all of Ubisoft for a significant discount if they just wait. So there's nothing in it for them to buy it now.
Because honestly, considering Ubisoft fired people recently, they've laid people off, they've folded divisions. It's not as though one of my original arguments of, buy Ubisoft and you buy their infrastructure. They don't have an infrastructure anymore. They don't have development teams. They have nothing that legitimately works to make a game. So you buy the Assassin's Creed IP on the cheap and let it rest for a few years, secretly make some shit up. And Jed, I think you agree with me. Assassin's Creed is a very franchise to easily hit the reset button on. It's very easy.
Oh, incredibly so, because every game for the most part is standalone with the exception of some present day stories overlapping like with Desmond or with Layla. And you could just start a new story. The Templars are always going to be there. The Assassins are always going to be there. There's no big events that they'd have to address. Except for Valhalla starts to make a present-day world-ending threat, just like Assassin's Creed 3 did. But you could pretty much ignore that or write that off-screen. It's kind of how they did Juno after Black Flag.
Every time, bring it up. Every time I beat Syndicate, and here I am all ready to start Origins, thinking I'm going to get the Juno conclusion in Origins. But no, they did the Juno storyline in a shitty little comic off on the side, and it was bullshit.
It was a disaster.
I mean, I remember I'm playing Syndicate and I'm doing the fast forward to World War II where you're Evie's descendant hopping around and you complete a bunch of missions, and then suddenly Juno appears in the sky, and I'm thinking, oh fuck me, she sees me now, and I'm gonna have to deal with her in the next game, and then nothing.
It goes nowhere.
She was beaten in the real world with a cloak and a dagger and some shit that was bullshit. Didn't even happen in the Animus. It happened in the real world.
Well, the great thing about the Assassin's Creed games is they're basically every one of them is built around a certain time period of history, and we have thousands of years of written history. They've got so many stories they can tell. So they could. I don't think it's like evergreen. I don't know that you could run out of stories to tell.
Well, you can make things radioactive because now Japan's radioactive for them as a
Oh yeah, they need to avoid doing another Japanese Assassin's Creed game for a long time. Whoever purchases it, but there's still a lot of the world left discovered. Like Australia would be cool. Some early ones, South America, maybe an Aztec one. There's so many options, and even European history offers a lot because we've never really gotten a true medieval one. I mean, we got Altair during the Crusades, but that was in the Middle East. Like medieval, I don't know, Germany would be kind of cool.
you could do one around the Scottish independence time period with
I
William
thought
Wallace.
World War II Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, get a little bit closer to present. Yeah, there's limitless possibilities. But do you guys know what the announced Assassin's Creed games are that if Ubisoft continues that they're working on?
No.
Does anybody want these?
Has it changed since the last time you told me?
Well, there's the Chinese Assassin's Creed mobile game.
Oh,
and then their big project that they're building up to, Alf, I don't know if you've heard about this. Assassin's Creed Infinity is their big project that they've been working towards. That's never going to happen.
Live service
Where you create a modern day person, like you get to customize your character, and that's like the hub. And then each season will be a different time zone or a different piece in history. And you go into the Animus, you do what's in that era, interacting with your central hub.
I don't like that. I would rather have these games are built around very comprehensive single player campaigns. That's the same thing with like the Fallout games. That's what they were built as. And when Fallout decided to do Fallout 76, people thought we were excited at first, and it wasn't what we wanted. It was awful.
And you bring up the point. It's supposed to be player centric, but if you make it live service, you're not actually servicing the player. You're servicing yourself because you're treating the player like a freaking whale piece of meat, a cattle even, that you're going to just try and squeeze money out of. And why we're, once again, Ubisoft, completely disconnected from reality. Hey, the world is turning on live service games. Let's put out a live service game.
Well, we can't forget they're also the studio that said gamers need to get used to not owning their games and trying to change their contracts or whatever, their license agreements, to say that you're licensing the game. You're not owning the game when you purchase it.
Yep. So this Assassin's Creed as a franchise, I think you guys are right when you bring it up. It's going to likely be sold off as a piece when they file, because no one's going to buy Ubisoft now. I'm going to say it. I don't think anybody buys Ubisoft as a whole. They're going to go into bankruptcy. They're going to sell it off. Tencent or somebody else will buy Assassin's Creed. The other IPs they own will be scooped up and probably just sat on. Because Alf just said Far Cry. Anybody care about Far Cry? No. Anybody care? They failed to start something with Skull and Bones. X-Defined is done. Their COD killer is done. They shut it down. They have nothing, and this is why they're failing, because they took their flagship franchise and they made it just all about agenda, and that is the core of it all. When you take something that was naturally diverse, the whole franchise starts on the back of a brown man, all right, and gets carried by Europeans, not even all kinds of Europeans throughout history, and then all kinds of Asians here and there. They bring people from all sides because Asians have been involved, because there was whole other sides of everything. What I'm saying is this was naturally diverse. There was no need to DEI the hell out of it, but they did it. They whammonized it, and now they blackified it. All for the sake of, look at us, aren't we great, for making a fake black historical figure into somebody important, and then trying to own the chuds. And look where it gets them. Look where it gets them. Look where it got them with Outlaws. You tried to force in a Mam Solo, a fake smuggler nobody cares about, and your game is such a bust that you have your shit running out there telling people in posts and articles, oh, you all missed this perk or this unlock for this skin and this thing. Here's how you get it. because no single real gaming nerd spent the time to dig it up and find out.
And watching Mahler play that game was hilarious because he was finding everything that was broken about the game.
Oh, I watched his final playthrough of his original run live when he went through the final missions, which were a joke. And then he beats the game sitting behind a turret on a Star Destroyer and not moving and letting everything play out as though he's actually taking part in the battle. And
then Jabba the Hutt thanks him.
Yeah, and that was
he's in a starfighter. He's Jabba's in that's X-wing.
And that's the thing. I think Mahler was so broken, and because I don't even think he realized it. The only reason Jabba and the Hutts show up is because that was the faction he had the most affinity with. It could have been anybody. I've seen other videos after that. It could have been anybody, but he was just so taken aback by it and broken at that point that I don't think he even realized it.
He had been drinking that stream, so he was a little drunk, and then Jabba pops up.
You're my favorite one, Cass.
It's like Jabba wouldn't care about me.
I miss when bugs in games were endearing, like Bethesda and Skyrim. A lot of the ragdoll effects were endearing; those glitches were endearing. Or The Witcher 2. Have you guys heard the game breaking bug from The Witcher 2? It's fantastic. They caught it just before release. So yeah, right before release, the devs discovered a game-breaking bug. Everyone remembers Witcher 2 when you fall into that pit with Triss and you get to have sex with her in that pool of water, right? And they didn't realize that if you said no to having sex with her, it would break the game. And while they were playtesting it, not a single person said no. So they didn't realize it until the last moment. Even the devs playing through it, they're like, "Yeah, we're saying yes. We're not saying no." And no one even thought about saying no. That's endearing. Even if they had released it like that, I would still laugh. I wouldn't say that was a problem. Because who's going to say no?
Yeah. Listen,
you need to be punished if you say no.
Every time you're in The Witcher and you have the opportunity for sex, you take it. Now, in The Witcher 3, if you haven't said the right things, the opportunity doesn't present itself. But in The Witcher 2, the sex is right there on display. It's right there. And I remember when I was doing my human side playthrough, I'm in the camp, and the blonde chick with the tattoo on her chest, it's suddenly it's like, "Oh, we're drinking. I'll take you back." "Oh, sex! Yay! Yay! Having sex! Okay, all right, here we go."
That part's nice, but I have to side with Yorvith every time when I'm going through on my own.
Well, I was my first playthrough, and I just thought Yorvith was a dick. So I'm like, I don't like this guy. I'm not going to side with him. He's an asshole. And also just because I tend to go humans on stuff. Fuck other races. I'm a human. I'm a humanist. I'm a humanist. Anyway, all seriousness. This is going to go down in the history books. It is. This is going to go down in video game history books. That you were on top of the world, and here you are now. Your company's falling apart because you went down the path of the woke DEI agenda. It's that simple. This was the cause of it all. If they had just kept making games, not caring about the ideological culture war going on, just kept making good games, they'd be fine.
I got a question I got to ask.
Yeah.
Do you guys think this will be the biggest company that has collapsed because of ideology and DEI?
In video games?
Yes.
Yeah. The other ones that have collapsed were just collapsing from disinterest. Like Activision had to get absorbed because the Activision Blizzard thing, they had to get absorbed because weaken their position, not because of DEI. But this has caused such a massive failure that it will be the biggest because
and a lot of the other companies who are doing it just as bad as Ubisoft are owned by bigger studios that can keep them afloat. Backstop them in case of failure, whereas Ubisoft doesn't have that safety net.
They're one of the last standing independent AAA companies. I mean, another one is Square Enix, but Square Enix is a different type of situation. They didn't really double down on DEI. They just they weren't paying attention to their American divisions, and they lost control. And when they realized what was going on, they immediately shut it down, sold it off, said we're sorry, and have spent the past year and a half trying to fix shit. So there are other ones out there that there are very few left, but the other ones like Capcom, Konami, they sold out. They sold out hard for the DEI, their American divisions, and they're the ones running the show now. The mothership in Japan doesn't run the show anymore. So they're, but they haven't collapsed yet. But the Ubisoft one, because it is, we don't always think about this. It's a European company. It's not an American company. It's not a Japanese company. It's the rare Euro company, along with like CD Projekt Red, who are in the middle of the two other markets. And they had this track record of putting out these incredible games. But now, due to their own desire to be accepted by the weirdo creep community that is DEI and diversity and inclusion and wokeness, they have sown the seeds of their own thing. I mean, if CD Projekt Red is the next one to fall, and they could, if Witcher 4 is a disaster, and Jed, it very well could be.
It absolutely could be. There's enough controversy to suggest it, and enough behind the scenes drama that, like, a ton of the Witcher 3 devs have left and created their own rival studio.
Yeah.
Well, CD Projekt Red is in a precarious situation. Phantom Liberty did decent for them, but it's not enough to keep them afloat. Witcher 4 could make or break their future.
Yeah. I mean, one would say, Adam, what about BioWare? BioWare doesn't count. They've been owned by EA for a decade. The only reason Inquisition, no, seriously, sorry. I've already forgotten its horrible name. Veilguard. The only reason Veilguard didn't immediately kill the company right now with its failures launch is because Daddy EA keeps them afloat and will let them try one more time with Mass Effect 5. So this goes down. I'm going to agree with Alf. This will go down when it happens as the biggest collapse, because this is one of the last independent companies standing. And when Assassin's Creed was at its peak, Ubisoft, with all its franchises running on all cylinders, it was on top of the world.
So with BioWare, you mentioned that because EA owns it. I could see if Mass Effect 5 fails, like,
they'll close it down.
I could see them EA will just say, you guys aren't profitable, closing the studio.
Yeah, they did the same thing when they bought up the developer for Dark Age of Camelot, who then made Warhammer, the Warhammer MMO, Warhammer Fantasy MMO, Age of Reckoning. Yeah, Age of Reckoning. They shut them down after that.
And the problem is EA will never identify why they are needing to shut them down.
No.
But, and that's the problem. It'll keep repeating. They're doing DEI. It's what's collapsing these studios. EA will not identify that as the problem. They will close it down, and they will repeat the same mistake in other companies.
That's because I always classify EA is not ideologically driven. They're just greedy and stupid.
They're dumb as shit.
They just try to squeeze everything till it's they will squeeze a division or a franchise dry and not realize that they're doing it because all they see are the numbers. And as soon as the numbers don't pan out, they will never look down as to why it failed. They'll just say the EA top's like, oh, it's not working anymore. Kill it. It's done. So when it comes to BioWare, they'll kill it not knowing why it died. Because
we're getting this with The Sims 4. They basically recently said that they weren't going to do The Sims 5 and they're just going to focus heavily in The Sims 4, which has been going on for the last 10 years and it's been getting buggier and glitchier every single time we've all been getting on it, to the point where some people can't even play it anymore and they're having to go back to older games because they can't play The Sims 4.
Well, EA is the absentee parent. They just want it done. They don't care how it gets done. And when it doesn't work, they'll blame somebody else, not really knowing what the cause of the failure was. And so BioWare will shut down, and those franchises will likely die with them. No one's going to pick because the problem is those who were once great at BioWare and went on to make their own studios, those studios have since failed. They never managed to find traction. They couldn't get investment. They couldn't get stability. So they do it. So there's no one around who was there to buy up Mass Effect, to buy up Dragon Age and fix them. And I don't worry about Star Wars: The Republic because SWTOR got sold off. They already sold SWTOR off to a different company. A different company runs SWTOR now. BioWare doesn't run it anymore. Somebody else runs it. So the licensing that they have with Disney completely separate. So SWTOR will continue on in its meager fashion, which and every few years I'll go back to it, play it, and then go away again because nobody plays with me. I'm alone. But it's that's going to list. But to the original point of what Alf said, yes, this will be the biggest disaster because of Ubisoft's high profile and its standing of what its standing once was.
Yeah, and the number of years it had success, and now we're seeing it collapse.
Yep. And I said this in my video. I said it on Friday, and I'll say it again. Ubisoft has gotten everything it deserved. The Guillaume family are retarded and dumb. And they do not realize their bad behavior, their poor decisions have led them to this. And the legacy is tainted, if you ask me. I think the overall legacy is tainted. I mean, people will go back and play the Ezio trilogy and love it. They'll probably play Odyssey too, and those who love Valhalla play it. But the overall legacy of Assassin's Creed will be a mess. And I don't think it'll be forgotten, but it'll be relegated to just a footnote in video game history. And every other franchise under BioWare will be forgotten.
Yeah,
Far Cry forgotten.
And Mass Effect, after those first 3 games, had a huge following. People loved those games, and the fact that we're going to see it collapse into it, the last game it had was mediocre at best.
Yeah, I mean, Andromeda was an average game. I didn't play it when it was buggy as hell, so I don't know how angry people. I know people were angry. I wasn't part of that. I played it after the fact, a while later.
Yeah, I did too. I played it a few years later.
I didn't hate it.
I
didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate the gameplay. I hated the story.
I actually loved it. I
hated that they took the story away from the Milky Way and started something completely different.
I didn't hate that. I hated your crew. Your crew was shit
but I wanted to see the continuation of what happened after, but I guess they wanted to separate from that because they had 3 different endings at the end of Mass Effect 3. They kind of wanted to leave it open to the player. I don't think they wanted to.
Honestly, I think Mass Effect 5, I would call it Mass Effect 4 because Andromeda doesn't have a number. It's really Mass Effect 4, but for the sake of everything, I call it Mass Effect 5. I don't want it. I didn't need it. I don't want it. I'm happy with ending it at 3.
Yeah.
Some people just need to get used to the stories have an end. Like the studio behind Baldur's Gate 3, I have to really respect them saying, we're not just going to cheaply make a Baldur's Gate 4. We're going to move on to something else. We're going to let it be what it is.
Well, you could make a Baldur's Gate 4, but every Baldur's Gate game is a different story. It's not the same characters. You can make a whole new thing because it's Fair Run. It's Forgotten Realms. There's untold amount of things you could tap into to tell a story with that. But to not, what I would say with them, I give them props for not milking it. Oh, we're not going to give you 5 DLC expansions. No, we're gonna put an end to it. We'll maybe give you another D&D game of Forgotten Realms, but it's not going to be Baldur's Gate. Maybe we'll go to Waterdeep. A Waterdeep game that would be cool. A Waterdeep game because Waterdeep is so huge. You could just you could go to Under Mountain. There's so much you could do with Waterdeep. I can't believe they've never done a Waterdeep game. That kind of shocks me now that I say it out loud. Nobody has ever done a Waterdeep game because there's the city and there's Under Mountain and there's the surrounding region. Oof. And because Waterdeep's like the center of attention on Faerun. It's always shit going down there. Anyway,
I don't think I've told you yet. I picked up Mass Effect Andromeda over Christmas for $2, so I'm gonna be playing it soon.
All right. Here's the
stream it.
No, here's the thing.
Probably not.
I played through it 2.5 times. Okay, because I was going. There's a trophy in there, romance 3 different people trophy. So I did do. They're the writer's siblings, male writer, femme writer. One of the things that people unnecessarily attack it over is how bad the writers look. It's a custom game. You can make them look however you want. The custom ones look retarded. It took me a while, but my femme rider is freaking hot. Give her a little bit of an Asian look, silver hair. She's hot as hell. And so you can customize your rider. So take that out. But overall, the gameplay is fantastic. I love the gameplay. The freedom of it, flying, jumping around, the swapping of your jobs and abilities because of your implant. I like that. I like the crafting system with your guns, especially because it's a new game plus. You can carry over your schematics to the next game. That's cool. The open world nature with the buggy you have, really annoying. Drive around, gets annoying. The combat, it's the same as the other one. Rock, paper, scissors, switch your weapons, this and that to tear down barriers and shields and this shit like that. Your crew sucks. The one really hot chick, she's gay. Like your Scottish navigator, she's gay. You can't get with her.
Even if you're a woman?
If you're a woman, yes. You have to be a woman. You have to be a woman. Yeah.
Okay.
She's it's scissor me timbers. But the other chick, the straight chick, human chick, she's ugly, she's boring. The Asari chick, she's annoying, and you can even sleep with her, and it doesn't count as a romance. It's just like, oh, we're both blown off steam. Your crew sucks. The ship is okay. It's not a bad ship. It's not the Normandy. It's not a bad ship. The story could have been better if they had actually followed through with the DLC that they promised. But overall, it's a problem with execution. The problem with execution, and the story just kind of falls flat because your crew sucks, and the final battle sucked too. It sucked. It was not so anticlimactic.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good ending, and like you said, the story I don't think was very well put together.
And the puzzles sucked too. The puzzles sucked.
Yeah.
The puzzles, there's basically matching up diagrams to unlock shit on a timer. They sucked.
I liked the idea of like terraforming these planets so
that was cool.
Settled. I liked that. But yeah, the story was awful. The ending was bad.
Yeah, and so they alluded to so much other shit that they never followed through. Also, but it's not horrible. It's just average to meh. But the gameplay, it's like I always say with Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2, horrible story. 10 out of 10 gameplay. It's fantastic to play. It's just shit to actually play.
Shit to listen to.
They're kind of doing that with films now. Bad films, but hey, we have a great soundtrack, what's the whole point then?
So, overall, that I forget where we were going with this. I forgot completely. So many.
We went down a rabbit trail.
Is the failure of Ubisoft?
Yeah, well, it's going to go down. Yeah, and that. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, but it's going to fail. And I'll always comparisons. You can't compare it to BioWare. You can't compare it to Blizzard, Activision, and their failures because these are different beasts. But Ubisoft's on its own. But let's wrap that up. Let's move on. It's in the books. When it happens, we'll be there. We'll get to point and laugh and say we got it right. Hell, everybody's got it right. Nobody with a brain thinks Ubisoft gets out of this. I don't even see Ubisoft fanboys or fan stands out there. Are they even out there?
There are the people who are just talking about the racism aspect of it and focusing on that. It's like, oh, it's gonna fail because of racist, or you're just evil people for listening to Japanese historians, or wanting a Japanese game to be about Japanese people, or you mentioned that there were black people in the franchise before. That's the equivalent of saying you have a black friend. There's those people, but besides that, people who are actually excited about it, not a whole lot. Some people saw the gameplay trailer and thought it looked good, mainly because it's copying the gameplay of Ghost of Tsushima. It even has like I don't know if you've seen it, Adam, the blue light up, so you know the blue lens flare, so you know that you can parry this attack, or the red one to know you have to dodge. Copied it entirely.
I think I saw that in some footage of it. Hang on a minute, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say looks good in the gameplay footage is the parkour actually looked good when you're playing as Naoe, or the chick. Her parkour actually looks really interesting, really dynamic. You can do different tricks to go through the environment better and integrate parkour into the fighting, it looks like, in a way that you haven't done before. So her parkour looks interesting, but I don't think he's going to be able to do much parkour.
No, his parkour is running through a wall.
So I'm going to be playing as her. If it's in a Cassandra versus Alexia situation,
they're working
They're
together.
going to go Jacob and Evie. They're going to pull
have
Jacob
to
and Evie.
swap at times. And listen, I want you to show those when you're Yasuke. I want you to show those other samurai a good night. Okay.
I'm going to have to ask Dre if I can use black voice.
Anyway, all right. So from one failure to another, my favorite punching bag: Disney Star Wars, Disney Lucasfilm. Oh man, it feels good to be right. I love being right. It feels so good because let's be honest. Whenever I get into these situations where I have to start predicting whether or not specifically a Disney Star Wars project is actually going to land, I always have fear. It's like that fear I had years ago when you're watching something and you're watching somebody be disastrous over and over again. You're thinking, man, they're going to learn from their mistake. And this time they're going to come out, they're going to say it right, but they never do. Disney Star Wars never learns. They don't learn. The stands are idiots. And after Acolyte, I was fairly certain that Skeleton Crew was going to be a disaster. Not because it's a kid's show, but because Disney Star Wars can't help itself from not only doing bad writing, but bad direction, bad special effects, no cohesive units from episode to episode. They forget shit, they overlook shit, and nothing makes sense. I mean, I've talked about it in this show where when they arrive on former pirate base planet that's now a resort for mud baths.
What?
Oh yeah, it was like a mud bath resort. And at one point you see a hut in it and it starts to eat somebody. It was retarded.
Ew.
Yeah, and they made a big deal on the episode. Oh, why is there so much security? Oh, the banking clans are here, and there's this thing going on. And then in the next episode, pirates attack very easily, overwhelm everything. And then when the kids steal the ship attached to something, they're flying around from a giant space mud crab that's hanging out there. The space mud crab is able to take things and throw them very far at flying objects. So your security that is so tight and great because there's out there have not taken care. You don't know what the giant crab that lives in your junkyard and can literally throw shit at things that fly over if it wants to. That's a hazard. There's no thinking. And they'll roll out Nepo baby Bryce Dallas Howard and they'll all suck her toes and go, oh, she's such a great director. Oh, she got this out of the kids. Oh, she had Jude Law do this. It was a crap episode. It was 22 minutes, 28 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, of Jude Law gives one monologue and the kids have silly kid arguments. That's not great direction.
You know,
Nepo baby.
Someone online was I don't know who said it, but they were stating this is like the Last Jedi effect. So after Last Jedi failed and it didn't really fail. It was declining, but a lot of the old school Star Wars fans were up in arms about the Last Jedi, and Solo failed spectacularly after that. I think it's the same effect with Acolyte and the show.
Well, this show is also tested because it's bad writing. There's some subtle PDF shit in there that I picked up on early on. And
not so subtle.
Well, you know what I did. It stopped after a certain point. It didn't continue. But you have these whole narratives and the people who you're appealing to, the stands, who we know from the Acolyte, we have actual physical receipts. They don't amount to anything. They do not have any sort of consumer or customer traction. They're the ones who were excited. Same people who were excited for Acolyte were excited for this. Talking about, oh, I love it, that when you had Jude Law and the kids, oh, he's going to be a great dad. He's going to be their surrogate dad and all this. Then 3 episodes later, he betrays them. Now they're all angry at him. Literally, they're all doing fan art of all of them hugging 2 episodes ago, and now he's a traitor threatening to dismember their families with a lightsaber. So it's retarded. So You have all of this entire show made for childish adults. And I will push back on anybody who says, well, it's a kid's show. Now, even on our side, where they're dismissing it, they didn't bother with it because it was just a kid's show. You're missing the point. It's not a kid's show. How about this? Last episode, not this week, but last week, when Jude Law's character, no, it was this week. I'm sorry, it was this. No, it was last week. It wasn't this week, last week. I'm thinking about my thumbnails. Well, it doesn't matter. It was this week. Shit. I'm trying to think of when it all happened. He retakes his pirate captaincy. Now, from a character perspective, this action is the right move. But if this is a kid's show, is it okay to show him shooting a helpless person point blank in the head? Is that a kid's show?
It's a little violent.
A little violent. I mean, listen, death happens in Star Wars, but in the blaster fight, things going back and forth, it's kind of just innocuous. He literally picks up the blaster, frowns, makes a face as the guy says his name, and shoots Wolfman Jack in the head. Point blank.
Now, do you remember a scene like this in Rogue One, starting off when we first met Andor, killing his informant, executing him, and then the Disney stands were like, ooh, Star Wars is for adults now. It's dark. It's awesome. And then we get the same scene, and it's like, ooh, it's a kid's show. Because that's what they've been told to think.
They want it both ways, and they can't have it. It's not a kid's show. It's a show for childish adults.
Disney adults.
Yeah. they wanna slobber all over it. Say, I'm watching Skelly Crew. They literally say, I'm watching Skelly Crew tonight. You're retarded. So
there's clearly something wrong with these people because not even a 16-year-old teenage girl behaves like this.
No.
And I'm speaking from experience.
There is something very wrong with all these people. You just got to go online and see what they do for various. There's a whole level of dysfunction and depravity when it comes to these people. There's something wrong with them. But bottom line, they exist, but guess what? They don't exist enough to make this a watch TV show because we finally this week we got the we got the beginning of December ratings. This thing dropped on December 3rd and aired for a whole week and didn't break into the original streaming once on Nielsen's. That means this thing was like in the 100s or 200s. That's how much. And then Jed, this is unusual. We don't get ratings drops in twice a week, do we?
No, it's very unusual for things like that to change.
Yep, and they dropped one today. Move. Click, move. There we go. Oh, look, December 9th, December 15th, episode 3. Not there either. Not there either. And Jed, you got the Sambas, don't you?
I have them all up for you. You want to go through them?
Yeah, let's go through
them. Chronologically or working backwards?
Chronologically. Let's go. Let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
December 2nd.
It is difficult to tell.
December 2nd. Yeah. Oh, look.
December 2nd.
Skeleton Crew. No Skeleton Crew. And just for the record, Dune Prophecy drops to the bottom because it was shit too. But look at that. So the premiere, December 2nd. I go to the next one.
All right. Got December 9th through the 15th.
Oh, look, it's just like what I just showed you. Not there. And Samba is an actually more better in the moment snapshot because Nielsen has to gather a lot of different things. There, all this stuff. Samba tells you nobody was watching it on their app on their TV. Nobody. All right, what's next?
We got December 16th through the 22nd. Carry On is killing it during this period.
Go.
So is Landman. I like that show.
Yeah, I'm not into it, but
even Red One's doing decent on Prime, which it's not a good movie, but I enjoyed my time watching it. It's stupid, but it's not as bad as people made it out to be just from watching the trailers.
Yeah, I watched it over the holidays with my kids. And it's not terrible.
Jed, you've got Christmas week there too, don't you?
We do have Christmas week. I just want to mention real quick, the 6888 is right here. Obviously, everyone wanted to see that, right? That was the most watched show ever. Have you heard about that one, Adam?
I believe so, a little bit, and have a certain connotation that should make me afraid due to my religion.
Oh well, I'm sure there's something in there, but yeah, it's the black women are the real heroes of World War II.
Oh, that's what that is.
Oh,
that is.
Yeah, in the final months of the war, they went to England and sorted mail, so they're the real heroes.
I think people are watching it just out of morbid curiosity.
I would agree. And Dexter Original Sin, they're working on a third spin-off show as well after this one came out. So there's going to be 4 Dexter shows. And Original Sin.
Dexter.
Now you notice here, these 3, there's been not a single Disney Plus show on here. Nothing.
No, not yet.
Right now, the following week, they had, and they planned it out like this. Don't tell me they didn't. They had the genius belief that people were going to sit down on Christmas Eve and watch Skeleton Crew. Like, oh man, they're going to love it. They're going to sit around. They're all going to watch Skeleton Crew on Christmas Eve before they open presents. Well, Jed, they didn't, did they?
No, they didn't open Disney Plus at all, which is weird because at least the old Disney films.
The Santa Claus is on there.
Yeah, I imagine something like that would get on, but Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla Kong, because the X is silent according to the director, Godzilla Kong. That's on there.
Yeah, I was watching Home Alone for the first time, proper Home Alone, during the Christmas break. As well, again for the first time. Another thing, there were a couple of others I was watching as well, but I usually use Disney Plus to watch old stuff that you can't get in the UK on physical media for some bizarre reason or other. That's why I usually use it for, that stuff that I don't actually have. So that's what I use it for. Same with Netflix as well.
Nobody used it, and nobody watched Skeleton Crew. Now
these shows we've never heard of are beating Skeleton Crew summarily. I mean, who cares? Even the ones we have heard of, who cares about Dexter? Like HornyAlf said, nobody liked the Dexter sequel show, New Blood. That was awful, and a prequel taking place when he first gets into the police, and you see all the original characters young. Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar's not going to sell that show, but it still shows up on the ratings. Skeleton Crew, a Star Wars property, can't even sniff at the ratings.
Nobody cares. And do we have another week, or was this the last?
We do. We have the final week, December 30th through January 5th. And surprise,
nobody sat around on New Year's Eve to go watch. Again, they lined up with Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And nobody watched it. And it's almost over at this point, too. It's almost over.
I was watching John Wick for the first time during that period.
Stop telling me you're watching things for the first time. Stop doing this. This is wrong. Why are you waiting till now?
Sorry. I'm late to the program.
You're worse than Cloud.
It's all right. I haven't seen John Wick either, so it's okay.
Sorry.
You're worse than Cloud. You're worse than
Cloud. Yeah,
Anyway, but this is failure. Yet, I do a review, and I have Stans yell at me, oh, it's not made for you. It's a kid's show. Why don't you do this? You don't understand. You're getting it wrong. It's doing this. No, apparently, everybody gets it. Nobody's interested.
Yeah,
nobody's interested.
That it's not made for you thing is garbage, because if it's a franchise that was a foundational franchise that you grew up with, you are still going to have an interest in what direction that franchise is going in. So you still have a vested interest in what crap they're putting out, whether it was made for you in quotation marks or not.
But here's the thing: you bring it up. Who is it made for? Because right now, Jeff Fraser asked this: who the Brutus Beat-Offs or the Neil Nation? Now, I'm not even sure what Brutus Beat-Offs are. Maybe I need to be reminded. But the Neil Nation are full of PDF weirdos.
Yes, they are.
That's
the target audience.
That is who they're making this shit for. Because they literally come out with their fake merch, their organic thing, Neil Nation. People didn't come up with this. That's a Disney thing. Just like they had the Yord Horde or the Soul Patrol. This isn't organic things coming to fruition, fan movements. This is corpo ideas being pushed out there, and the shills and the weirdos willingly take it up. And it doesn't stick. You know why it doesn't stick? Because kids ain't watching this shit. And they're not buying. Only the weirdos are buying the merch, and there's not enough of them. I make fun of the ones that say, look, I have all the Black Series figures. Oh, you do.
Well,
congratulations, you're the only one who bought them.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about before, generational handoff of franchises.
Yeah.
So all the people that watched the original trilogy, they handed it down to their kids, who then watched, the prequel trilogy. You're not seeing that with Disney Star Wars. The people that like us, who are only hanging on to watch the direction that this franchise is going in, are not introducing this modern shit to our kids.
No,
I don't talk to my kids about the new Star Wars stuff. Not at all.
And at some point, if your kids show interest, you just go, hey, my friends can tell you about that right there. That's Star Wars right there.
Yeah.
There is many upon many, dozens upon dozens of real Star Wars stories. I mean, every year now, since I started doing this, I hear stories of people who are first coming to the EU because they're so disenfranchised by Disney Star Wars. They're looking. There is still a hunger for Star Wars out there. There is. And when people actually get a moment to go read the EU, they're swept away. And they go on the ride and they love every second of it. They find their entry point. They like their section. They read get into it, and they have fun. They'll go play the video games. They'll go read the comics. Yeah. They'll go full into it. That doesn't happen with Disney Star Wars. Hell, here's the thing. Because of course I follow this bullshit on whatchamacallit, on X Twitter. So you guys wouldn't know this because you don't pay attention to this stuff. Only I have to. They recently, the Disney Star Wars comics recently released a line of a series talking about the Battle of Jakku, the battle that ended the war with the Empire. So apparently, the Battle of Jakku comic book doesn't line up with the rest of Disney Star Wars canon timeline. And there were some idiots on X Twitter talking about, oh my God, they showed a picture of the Battle of Coruscant on Revenge of the Sith, saying this is what it's like in Wikipedia Discord right now. Everybody's fighting about whether it's working out. And my response was, yeah, a retard slap fight is still a retard slap fight. There are no winners. You're all wrong. I mean, that's how bad it is. They can't even get their own goddamn canon right. They do it, and I even caught some of the worst shills out there. Some of the ones that haven't blocked me yet, going, I'm a little disappointed that they can't do it like this. They can't get this right. And 2 seconds later,
talk to each other in a movie trilogy. You think they're going to communicate with each other across comic books, and TV shows?
No.
The other piece of the generational handoff and all the stands that you fight with on Twitter X.
Yeah.
They don't have kids. These are not the kind of people that have kids. They're not handing it off to anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't propagate a franchise.
Yeah. So we've laid it out. It's failure. I mean, let me ask you this: what do you think is going to happen with Andor season 2?
Nobody's going to watch it again.
It'll come out quietly, and no one will pay attention, and no one will even realize it was out.
I mean, I am still playing around with the idea of watching, because here's what's going to happen. Here's how it's going to happen. What's happened with the first season? Those who are casual fans, the casual Star Wars fans who thought Andor was okay, are going to watch it and say the same thing. That, looked nice. It told a coherent story. The acting was okay. And I'm going to say the same response to them that I said the first time around. Take out every element of Star Wars that's in there, and it will still work. Then you can't have a la carte with this story. You can't say, I like Andor. No, all roads lead to Jake Skywalker drinking green titty milk. All roads lead to there. You can't just take one part and say, I like this part. Can we keep it? No, because you still get Rogue One, which fucks with A New Hope. You still get that. Andor directly goes to that. So they're gonna like that. And here's my thing. I feel like I'm gonna get a Dune situation where if I review it and shit all over it, I'm gonna get attacked from both sides. And I don't feel like doing that this time around. I mean, maybe I'll watch it and give an overall take on stream. But I
might need to rewatch Rogue One because I haven't realized it.
You don't have to watch Rogue One at all. It's garbage.
I do
I'll be
actually
honest.
I've got it on Blu-ray.
Andor didn't get a lot of numbers anyways, so I don't. If you do review it and do a video, I don't know if it's going to do that
Dude,
well because
I'm
there's
getting
not,
garbage
there's no
on
interest.
Skeleton Crew. I'm getting garbage on Skeleton Crew.
Yeah,
I get
no,
nothing.
There's no interest.
Yeah, I'm just finishing it out because I have to.
It's a prequel of a dead character.
Yeah.
No one cares about a prequel that's set so close. We know how Andor's story ends, so I'm just not personally interested. I'm happy for the people who enjoy it, but I don't care how he got to the point he was.
And every
know where
3
he's at.
episodes, they're going to jump a year closer to the Battle of Scarif, whatever the frick it's called in Rogue One.
Scarif, I think.
Scarif, whatever. Made up Disney bullshit, fan fiction, all of it. All of it. But
You're saying you didn't like the battering ram cruisers? Battering ram cruisers that in one hit took out 2 Star Destroyers and a shield generator around a planet?
But it was a space battle. It's a visually impressive object all over it. No, fuck it. No, but so Andor season 2 is likely going to do mid to nothing. That's what's going to happen. And then they got nothing else this year. So with leaving out 2026 and where we know Mando Grogu is going to go, I ask the question now in our closing moments. Is there a goddamn thing Disney can do to salvage this at this point, considering they keep announcing? I swear to God, they just announced that somebody else gets more movies this week. Swear to God, I saw it somewhere. Somebody who wrote an episode for I think for Skeleton Crew is going to be allowed to do something or something. I don't know.
That's standard for Lucasfilm. They announce stuff just to drum up some excitement, and they never follow through. And even the biased media is starting to report that.
Mm-hmm. So anything. Is there anything they can do? I'll throw it out to you guys. Is there anything they can do to win, to get a real win, to bring back the actual fan base, not the creeps and not keep pandering to the creeps and the weirdos?
In my opinion, under Disney and Lucasfilm, no.
Yeah, I can't see a reasonable answer to that question. I mean, there's the extremes we could go to, like fire everyone involved, sell it to someone who cares. No, there's that extreme.
No, I'm talking within the scope of Disney Lucasfilm.
Yeah, it's still extremes. Decanonize everything that Disney's made. Those are too big extremes to be viable. So no, the answer would be no. Unless you go to an unforeseen, implausible extreme, there's nothing that will even get them a win.
Yeah, because look at the way it's broken down here. They thought that the sequel trilogy was going to take them to the future. It has been 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. It's been almost 7 years. 7 years. And they have not ventured beyond I'm Bray Skywalker. Show me where they've done it. Can you?
Lego.
Doesn't count. Lego don't count. Lego is a weird jerk-off fantasy that everybody seems to universally love except me. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Whatever. I don't care.
So you're saying you didn't like the time travel Rey movie where she went through all the events of the
she lands
original?
in like Luke's lap or Anakin's lap, whatever. No.
I thought you meant the Lego games. I thought not the Lego show.
No, the Lego movie that they made.
All of it. Lego can go step on itself. Okay, I want Lego to step on a Lego.
No, Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga is the greatest game in Star Wars.
Fuck y'all, Lego. I don't give a shit about no Lego. Point is this: there is, yeah, you heard me. I'm not gonna pretend.
Hey, Lego's overpriced.
I'm not going to pretend.
100%.
No, real Legos. You can play with real Legos all you want. I don't care about that. I'm talking about the goddamn video game bullshit. No, fuck it. Fuck it. I'm not gonna try and win hearts and minds. Pretend I'm something I'm not. Hey, they think a video game. No. It's bullshit. Not real. They're just like I want to fuck around and then get pretty. No. Worth it. All right. So they have not gone beyond the sequel trilogy because they're afraid. because they know they're not. Even retarded Disney Lucasfilm knows. They look at their numbers and they see, wow, we go beyond this. Nobody's interested. So what have they done for 7 years now? They retread very compressed time periods where there's not a lot of room to maneuver. They have butchered in comics the year and a half between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. They have butchered it horribly. There's
they have not been exploring the stuff that they did. They are going back and trying to bring back people by going to the periods that we like. And
nostalgia is the only tool that they have left.
Yeah, and they're ruining those time periods by keeping going back. So
and you bring that up. Both of you bring a perfect point. It's nostalgia. They're going back for us. But guess what? We're not here. We're not buying what they're selling. Nobody is saying, please take my money. I mean, the Jedi Survivor series, those made some money, had fun, but most of all, people play them and they're done. To use the quote, those games fall right off as soon as they're done. They have their window and they fall right off. They are not relevant. The third one is at least 3 or 4 years game. You really think in 3 or 4 years when we release the third one in that anybody is hanging on, waiting with bated breath for Cal Kestis? No.
He should have died at the end of the first one. I stick with that. He was a Padawan. He can't be a Jedi Master like they're saying. They can't start a new Jedi Order. He could plan on doing that in the first one, but he has to die. He can't make it to A New Hope, at least.
But that's the point. We talking about that. They keep lodging these things in between the real Lucas timeline, and they keep mucking it up. And then they are locked into their own between Return of the Jedi and sequel trilogy timeline. They continue to butcher. They'll butcher. I mentioned it. They butcher their own continuity. So they have no stories to tell that are interesting to anybody. This is why there is no saving it. There is no interesting stories to tell. People don't care about Ahsoka. Dave Filoni thinks he is better than George Lucas, and nobody with a brain has bought that at all. It's out. It's done. And here we are. There is no way for Disney to save Star Wars as long as they own it, because they burned every single legitimate money-making bridge. When Mandalorian Grogu comes out, this likely $300 million plus movie, there's no way it's under $300 million. No way at all. Plus the marketing bonanza they're going to try and push with it, because they still think Baby Yoda moves merch. That little green, I almost said a very bad word. that little green thing. He ain't a marketing juggernaut that he was when he first came out. Every girl, Dragon Lady, I'm looking at you. Every girl that bought their "he's so cute" merch, they have it all. They have all the "he's so cute" merch. There's nothing. There's no market left for that little green bastard.
I actually got a Baby Yoda ornament as a gift from someone over Christmas.
And I bet you squeed. I bet you squeed when you opened it. He's so cute. You did it.
You think Baby Yoda's the main reason Disney's still going with their TV shows? Kept them afloat with the merch.
I don't know.
But even I didn't go anywhere near. Even I didn't go anywhere near the third season of Mando because of what they do with Gina. So I was done after season 2.
I would judge people less if they loved the baby Jabba the Hutt from the Clone Wars movie.
They're introducing Jabba's son in this next round of stuff they're putting out.
That movie's terrible, though.
Oh, that was bad. It was bad. But what we have here is a situation of no win. And I'm going to reiterate what I always say about this. Owning the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy is not making them money. Some people want to put out there that that's a license to print money. Show me where it's printing money for them right now. Show me.
If they re-released it into theaters on a regular basis, yeah, that would make them a decent amount of money.
But they can't do that. They can, but they can't, because when they do it, it embarrasses their shit. Because if they listen, it would be a simple thing: re-release Revenge of the Sith on its 20th anniversary in May. Re-release it. It's a very simple thing. It's the favorite of the prequel trilogy. Everybody loves it. Even the haters love it. But they won't do it. At least not in a large scale release. It would be limited.
Yeah, these companies are idiots. Back when we were going over Rings of Power, the WB are morons. They could honestly, because the Lord of the Rings movies came out during the holiday season, they could release Lord of the Rings every December, and they would make a ton of money off of it.
Yeah, not as a Christmas movie, but as a holiday tradition, as a Christmas tradition. Because
they would make money hand over fist, people going to see those movies in the theater.
And the biggest thing they should have done instead of making other movies is Peter Jackson has talked about there's a longer cut of the film, longer than the extended editions that he planned on releasing for the 20th anniversaries. Put money into that. Screw the Snyder cut.
I
want to see the.
I say give it all to me.
Yeah,
I
don't know what you call it, the director's cut or something.
Call it the Jackson cut.
Ooh,
the Jackson cut. An extra hour on each movie.
The full cut. You get the full cut.
I love how we want more of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but the most popular versions of The Hobbit, and when they edit it into one movie, we want smaller
The Hobbit
cuts
for
of the
what it
Hobbits.
is. I'm okay with what it is. I'll watch all 3 movies.
But it should not have been 3 movies.
No, it should not have been.
I think 2 would have been fair. I think they could have done it in 1, but 2 would have been fair.
I said in real time when it happened, I said, how are they making 3 movies out of this? And
The Hobbit. The Hobbit compared to the Lord of the Rings is just a tiny book, so they don't have that much in there.
And like I said, I like it for what it is. I wouldn't own it if I didn't. But either way, these companies are dumb. I mean, WB needs money. Lucasfilm doesn't. I mean, Jed, you showed me an article this morning, a post.
I did.
Yeah,
we've got the numbers for the Willow TV show.
Yeah. This is why Disney Lucasfilm was a failure. This is why it's a failure, and why they can't save themselves. They can't save anything.
I find it funny because Gary has his contact over at the Marvel Studios, and his contacts even said, "We have no idea what's going on over at Lucasfilm. They don't talk to us."
Look at this. They spent $172 million on 8 episodes of utter garbage that Jed and I couldn't get through 2 episodes of.
And then they removed it from their streaming service, 30 days after it came out? It was costing them so much money just to leave on the platform that they eviscerated its existence. There's no physical media. The only possible way to watch Willow is to go to Pirate Bay.
Yeah. And Jed, we won in this. Willow remains now fine because they pulled it from existence. It doesn't count.
There's no sequel yet, just the movie.
Yeah,
it's just the
doesn't
movie.
count. This is why. I mean, this is how you would know that the sequel trilogy could. This is the framework, the roadmap for eliminating something. If you pull it from existence, it doesn't count. And that's what's going to happen one day with Disney Star Wars. I swear. It'll happen one day. Someone will get a hold of it, and they will yank it all. But here, Willow, the movie, is now all there is, and that's great. Or the NES video game, which I was talking about last week. That's a fun one. That's a wild and weird game because it doesn't follow the movie at all.
That's a blockbuster movie budget, though.
Yeah.
Like Nosferatu, which came out, which was a beautiful, beautiful film. Great talent put into that film. Cost $50 million. It only costs $50 million. That's nothing.
Well, here's the thing. Willow, $172 million. Acolyte, $180 million. $200 million. I think it was what was it? Maybe what was it? 220. I think the real
220 at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. We know that Skeleton Crew is up there. It's up there in its cost, and they make all this shit for Disney Plus with no return on investment.
I don't care if any of these shows, let's say Willow, just hypothetically, since we're looking at the budget, even if Willow was the most watched TV show of the last 20 years, it is impossible to make a profit on a streaming service show that costs this much. Like if you had a $50 million show and it was super successful, like Squid Game, as far as I'm aware, season 1 was relatively cheap to make. That one, I think, made money for Netflix. especially since they're just distributing it. I would say that one made money. But if you spent nearly 200 million on any TV show, The Witcher's never made money for Netflix. It physically cannot. It can be the next Game of Thrones if it's on streaming service without ads. Now that they're starting to do ads, the formula is changing a little bit. But without ads, there is no physical way for it ever to make money, regardless of its popularity. But when you have something like Willow, where it disappears off the ratings, no one watches it, it makes sense why they have to purge it from existence, hoping to get whatever tax break they can from deleting it.
Yep.
There's just no
and
physical
it saved
way.
the legacy of the franchise.
Wasn't Willow? I mean, the show Willow. They didn't. It was mostly live action, right? Where did all that money go?
The actors, it didn't go to them because it was a bunch of no-name teenagers, which was weird.
Warwick Davis and what's her name? Val Kilmer's ex-wife. Suddenly forgot her name.
The queen or the princess from the first
Sorsha.
movie.
Sorsha. They were the only named real names in there.
There was that black ginger chick that Disney uses and everything. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Solo. She was in it.
Is she worth anything though?
I don't know, but she's just in enough that maybe Disney's like, oh, well, we have to pay her more to keep her in stuff.
I'm baffled by where all that money went.
It didn't go into the CGI. There wasn't a whole lot. This could have operated on a low CW budget and turned out exactly the same.
But this is just an example. This is another reason none of this can be saved. They've wasted so much money. They did Lucasfilm, between Disney Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Willow. It's a black hole. I mean, Disney Plus is a black hole. Lucasfilm is also another black hole. Nothing goes in. Everything goes in, nothing comes out. Put it the right way. Anyway, so Disney Star Wars cannot be saved. Not by Disney. Someday in the future, if they are forced to relinquish it, yes, there are roads to redemption, roads to saving it. But as long as Disney has it, not going to happen. There is no conceivable way, because they've lost the fan base, the real fan base. They've lost real fan base. They have lost any lock on a market. Nobody buys merch anymore. Nobody really buys merch. And the zeitgeist is crap. When we cover cover Star Wars Celebration this year, because we'll cover it, because there'll be some, I guarantee there'll be some golden moments for us. It's not going to move the needle for anybody. It's going to be a bunch of yammering, clapping seal stands, because that's what goes to it. Even it's in Japan, that's a long way to go. Very expensive road trip, and not a lot of people can do it in what will still be a recovering economy at that point. All right. That said, I think we're done, but we'll end the conversation with this. Jay Fraser 360 for 10 pounds. Hail round table and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you. I swear to God I can speak. Happy New Year to you too as well. Adam, I recommend you review Andor Season 2. Despite shots from both sides and lack of views, your voice is unique, and in the end, you'll be proven right. Plus, it helps your channel. I love that sentiment, and I will do my best. We'll see. This is April, I believe. I believe it's mid to late April when it drops. So we'll see. We'll see. What I might do is I might do it in chunks. To just cry. I also have to go back and rewatch the end of Andor Season 2, because I was sort of stopping and in and out of it, because that's when my computer had its meltdown that year. So that's why I didn't finish my original Andor Season 1 review, because my computer died for 3 weeks. And by the time I got it back, it was out of the rhythm, out of the zeitgeist, out of the algorithm. So, but thank you, Jay Fraser. I will, of course, take that into account, because I know that you guys who show up here, you love what I do, and I am here to entertain you. And by then, I'll probably need something to review. Either way, thank you, Jay Fraser, for the 10 pounds and the support. And to everybody, we thank you for joining us this Sunday. That's it, whatever. I'm done. We're done. It's over. We're done. Outros, and let's go, Jed. I'm not going to try to flower it up anymore. Bro, get out of here.
I just want to quickly say for people, we were going to talk about it in the intro, but we didn't get around to it.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to say we were right, Adam. We were right in our predictions that Witcher, which is somehow still a thing at Netflix, will be making the end of the show season 5 is what it looks like, because the actress playing Ciri is saying that she's reading the final book in the series as prep for filming season 5, which implies we were right. Season 4 and 5 will cover the last 3 books that they have. So I just can't wait for the end of it. No one seems to know that there's a animated movie that keeps getting delayed. No one's talking about that. The Rats is gone now. It's completely eviscerated.
It is. It's gone. It's not coming out.
They're going to be they're going to be incorporating some of the footage into season 4.
Yeah. Now I remember.
But there will be no Rats TV show now.
Well, great. One less thing you make me watch. But I mean, you realize the failure of that is. You had The Witcher, a dark fantasy with a ravenous fan base who loves it. You could have told the books, the prequels to the games. Could have gotten all that done in like probably 3 seasons, right?
No.
You
You could have done 6 for the books.
6. Wow. Okay, 6. Wow. You could have had 6 seasons. Then you
probably 7. I would have done 7.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I was just spitballing there, but you know better than I. So that's 6, 7 seasons. And if you actually buckle down and do traditional television, you could have had one out every year. That would have been 7 years of building a franchise, and then you go into the really popular part. The books are popular, but they're not the video game popular. Then you could have had many seasons, because the first game, that's a season. It's not that long a game. It's not that deep a game. But the second one, that's 2 seasons easy. Second game. If you mix
I would have combined game 1 and game 2 into one season.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You think?
There are lore problems with The Witcher 1, like that other child of the Elder Blood. That's a problem.
Yeah.
The way they portray the Wild Hunt, there are a lot of problems with it, and it's pretty short. So I wouldn't do 2 seasons. I do half a season on game 1.
Thing is, with game 2, you'd have to do some trickery to try and find a proper way to get the entire story without choosing the branch. You know,
if I were making the Witcher franchise books and games, I would do 10 seasons total. You could very comfortably do both stories in 10 seasons. I think that would be a fair amount.
Yeah, but then of course, Witcher Wild Hunt, huge game, so much story, so much. So they had a massive franchise. It could have been a winner for a decade at least, and they flushed it down because of DEI bullshit. Plain and simple. You had the perfect Geralt in Cavill, who was happy to be there, thrilled to be there, wanted to put everything into it, and they just flushed it away. And they Netflixed it, is what they did. They Netflixed it, which is what they do, what Amazon does. Amazon could have had Wheel of Time be a perennial thing. Could have been an all-time great. But an asshole like Rafe Juggins just wants to smear his shit all over it and call it art. That's what he wants to do. Anyway. All right. Jed, what you got this week?
Well, everyone can find me on YouTube and Kick at Hollywood Scholar, just regularly scheduled videos and live streams ending in Saturday Night Drive-In, which Adam will talk more about.
Okay, Dragon Lady.
I should be doing some more simming at some point. I'll try and post my Sonic 3 review. I just realized I wasn't that in yet. Completely forgot about that. Other than that, not too bad.
All right, Dre's not here, so I'll pimp his stuff. Check out Brutal Planet Comics and DeBrute Plays for Pokemon stuff. Dre might be a little lax on content this week because he's got real world stuff he's dealing with, but he will be likely back next week with his unique Dreisms that we love so much. Alf, tell people what you do. Tell people what you do, Alf.
Adam, thanks for having me on. But for those in the audience who don't know me, I'm HornyAlf. I have a YouTube channel of the same name. The channel is focused on video games and gaming. I stream usually with Adam a couple nights a week playing games. And then I've also been doing some 40K lore reaction videos that are doing pretty good numbers for my channel. So go check those out. But that's, tonight, I'm supposed to be playing Party Animals, having a Party Animal stream. I'm trying to herd cats to get people to join that. So.
Anyway, yeah, so check out Alf. As I say, you can catch him and I playing usually FPS co-op stuff. That's what we do. We fluctuate between a couple games. So catch those usually on Fridays and Saturday nights when we're not doing mass stuff on Among Us streams on Saturday. As for me, tonight I am taking the rest of the night off. I might have something to do. I'm not sure. It's a pre-recorded thing. So it does happen tonight. I don't know when it'll happen. When it is done, I will let you guys know where to find it. I'll just say it's Star Trek related. That's all I'll say. Other than that, tomorrow, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, Mellow Mondays, where we will continue to do our nerding out thing over there, and the strange conversations where everybody is obsessed with the fact that I didn't drink from a hose when I was a kid.
You didn't?
No. God, don't do this to me. Don't you too. I didn't drink from a hose.
I don't think that
Suddenly I'm weak because I didn't drink from a hose.
No, you're just a yuppie. You just lived in the city.
I'm sorry if I was provided beverages wherever I went. I didn't need to go drink from a hose. God damn it. Anyway, so that's the kind of, we get up to our own weird shit over there with Samuel, Devil, and other. It's an open door. You never know who's going to show up. Wednesday finale, season finale, likely series finale of Skeleton Crew. Watch me suffer one more time. And if you haven't done so already, go to the community tab on my page. There's a little thing there. Legatus can share the link. I didn't put in the chat because I forgot because I was playing Stellaris right up until we got started here. It's chat choice for Saturday Night Drive-Ins in February. It's chat choice, which means you guys submit your suggestions for the next 2 weeks. Best place to do it is at the community tab on that post. Put it in the comments section. I see it there. It stays there. Release when we see it. We will collect your suggestions. It will be handed off to a third party who Jed and I have no influence with, who has also not submitted a suggestion. And he or she will take the 5 that they think will work the best, and they'll give it to me, and I'll put it up on a poll on the same community tab, and then you guys will have a week to vote on it and make Jed and I watch something that hopefully is good and not god-awful. Last time we got lucky with Equilibrium. Right now, the list's looking pretty good. We appreciate what you guys put up there. Sounds fun. Sounds entertaining. And also, I also have another poll going on the community tab. Are you guys going to make me watch Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man? So far, overwhelmingly, yes. So likely in about another 15 days, 17 days, 2-episode premiere. Spread over 2 days. They don't do it all in one day. You ain't going to get that.
That's the new animated one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, you were kidding. It is overwhelmingly saying suffer.
Yeah. It's overwhelming.
I just went and voted. Everyone go vote on that.
Yeah, I know what you voted.
Of course.
Ginger bastard.
But I want to see what Mary Jane actually looks like.
If she's even in it. If she's even in it. So, because that is the Asian chick is not Mary
that's
Jane.
not Mary Jane.
It's Minoku, not whatever. Bug knows her name. Anyway, so I'm going to watch that. Probably going to review that. 2-episode premiere, January 29th. I'll spread it out over 2 days, and then it's going to be a weekly suffer fest for probably the next 8 weeks after that. So we'll be on a little ride, and you guys know I have decent knowledge of Spider-Man. I'm a Spider-Man fan. He's my favorite superhero, so I can talk about this pretty easily, not a problem. So I'm going to hate every minute of it, and I'm going to say it again. I hope and pray by the end of it, he'll be in the Future Foundation shoot, which is actually a Fantastic Four collaboration, not a Norman Osborn Oscorp creation, where Norman Osborn will go Green Goblin. They'll be fighting, and at some point, Peter in the white suit will have him in a lock hold and have the knee on the back of his neck, and Norman's going to say,
You're dreaming about that, aren't you?
It would be the greatest thing ever. See, hey, listen, Dermy wants him to be lynched with webbing, okay?
Oh, wow.
Dermy wants him to be lynched with webbing. That's what Dermy wants. All right?
My God.
Either way, it's going to be great either way. This is going to be a dog shit nightmare, but watch me lose my shit. These episodes are probably going to be like 21, 22 minutes each. So it's going to be in and out very quick with no lube. It's going to be terrible. All right, then. So catch that when that happens. Vote on that. And for Saturday Night Drive-In this week, my choice, I've chosen something. I asked Jed. He hasn't seen it. And I'm going for a conversation starter because it's a cult classic. It's got a very strong cult following. Dark science fiction. Dark City. Dark City. It's a little bit of a mind bender. Weird shit goes on. It's somewhat enjoyable. I'm sure we're going to have some good conversation on it. We're definitely going to have some conversation about the visuals in it because they really do some stuff with it. Anyway, so we're going to watch that 6 p.m. Eastern this Saturday. And I don't know what we're doing on Ball Busters. I don't know what we're doing on Chatterday, but I do know we'll be right back here next week, 2 p.m. Eastern. Who knows what the week will bring us? I have no idea. I didn't know what we were doing until just 5 minutes before we started. I never know. I do the best I can. But thank you, Alf, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate all of you. Hit those like buttons. Everybody's links are in the description below. And we'll see you guys next week. Until then, take it easy, everybody.
See ya.